Our new NBA mock draft is presented by Canva. Design presentations for free at canva.com. The draft, 4 weeks from tonight, and our Colin Ward-Henninger has a brand new mock following last week's combine. Not a lot of drama at the top. We're pretty certain that Cade Cunningham is going to go first to the Pistons. Look, the top 4 guys are probably set in the top 4. We just don't know exactly where they're going to go. He has Evan Mobley going 2 to the Rockets, Jalen Green 3 to the Cavs, Jalen Suggs 4 to the Raptors, and maybe in a bit of a surprise, he's got Jonathan Kuminga down at 6. A lot of mocks have him going 5th, but Colin has Scotty Barnes out of Florida State going number 5 to the Magic, who have 2 picks in the top 8. Let's bring in Colin Ward-Henninger and discuss things. We don't really need to talk about number 1. Cade Cunningham is likely going to go to Detroit. Let's start at 2, where you have Evan Mobley going to Houston. And this is a change for you. Goes against some of the other mocks that we've seen, having Suggs or Green there. Why have you moved the big man out of USC up to 2?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. And I originally had Mobley farther down in the draft simply because of the position he plays. As we've seen in the NBA, big men aren't exactly a hot commodity right now. Taking a perimeter player makes a lot of sense. But then I talked to a couple scouts, and one of them told me, you need to stop thinking of Evan Mobley as a big man. He is a 7-foot wing. So once I heard that, once I dug a little bit more into the film, you realize that this guy is going to be able to do a lot of things, both offensively and defensively, that kind of defy his position. You think of a Bam Adebayo type defensively, who can switch onto smaller guards, but also protect the rim. And then offensively, he can put the ball on the floor, he can shoot. I hate to say things like this because people will run with these comparisons, but if he does hit his upside and potential, you're looking at a potential Anthony Davis type impact on both ends of the floor. So after hearing that, after looking into the film, I think the Rockets take Mobley. There is some positional redundancy with Christian Wood, but the Rockets are in a position where they have to worry about things like that. They're not going to be good for a while, so I think they go with Mobley here.
Okay, and the Cavs coming up with the 3rd pick. You have them taking another guard. Now, why do you think Jalen Green can still work alongside young guards like Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, who they've taken recently early on in drafts?
Yeah, very similar to the Rockets in terms of position. I think when you're a rebuilding team, you can't really worry about those types of things. And I do believe that Jalen Green, given his skill set, can play alongside other guards. So I don't think that will really be a problem there. In terms of the scouts that I've talked to about Jalen Green, they feel that he is probably the most known commodity in this draft, possibly even more known than Mobley and Cunningham. He might not have the upside of those two, but this scout told me that if Jalen Green never averages 25 points in the NBA, he would be shocked. So that's a pretty good guy to grab at 3. I think he's pretty much established himself as a rung above Jalen Suggs. So I think the Cavs, they'd love to get their hands on Mobley, but if he's gone, if the Rockets take him, I don't think they're going to hesitate to take Jalen Green, despite having 2 guards in Colin Sexton and Darius Garland already.
And that would leave the other Jalen for the Toronto Raptors, who are sitting with the 4th position here. And in your article on CBSSports.com, you call this a near perfect situation. Why is that?
Well, he's just, you watch his film and he doesn't seem like a 19-year-old. You watch him at Gonzaga as a freshman. He's poised, he's confident. He has everything you need in a modern NBA guard. He can put the ball on the floor, he can score, he can set up others. And I think the maturity level is what really makes him a perfect fit here with Toronto. They have a history of developing these guards, and Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet. I think he'll fit in perfectly in that system. And what the Raptors are looking for, a kind of a unique situation for a team drafting 4th, they want someone who can help them win now, as well as bridge that gap to the future. And I think Suggs can absolutely do that. And if they do decide to kind of package this pick for a piece to come in and make them better next year, Suggs is a very attractive piece if they want to package him in a trade as well. So I think on all accounts here, Suggs makes sense.
Colin, as you've shown us here, the top 4, I mean, the order could be different, but these 4 guys are going to go 1 through 4. For a while, we were thinking that the top 5 guys were set, but in the last month or so, it seems like some are souring on Jonathan Kuminga a little bit, and you have Kuminga going to 6 and the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll talk about him in a second, Colin, but first let's hit on Scotty Barnes and why you feel like the Magic should take him with that 5th pick and what makes him so intriguing in this draft.
Yeah, Barnes is absolutely an intriguing prospect, and I think really what jumps out with him is he has NBA skills already. He is an absolute perfect defender for the modern NBA. He can play guard pretty much 1 through 5. He's got long arms. He's athletic, can get steals, blocks. He's a defensive piece, a defensive anchor that if you're going to eventually build a championship defense, this is the kind of guy you want. Offensively, his shot is a little shaky. That will need to be developed, but he does have ball handling skills. He played point guard at Florida State, and he's able to get his teammates involved. So if you have a guy who plays defense that well, and it can be a facilitator on offense, I think it makes sense to look at a guy like Barnes at 5. Just because you know pretty much what he's going to be in the NBA. And if you're able to develop his offense, he could be even better than that.
And with Kuminga, it sounds like teams just don't know what they're going to get from him, and that's why he might slide out of that 5 position, might slide even further, but you do have him only sliding 1 to the Thunder at 6. What's the issue here? What are you hearing that might lend a slide to Kuminga, maybe even out of the top 8?
Yeah, I had one scout tell me that he wouldn't take Kuminga in the lottery, period, which is quite a deviation from what we'd been hearing. As you said, he was kind of that 5th guy in the top 5 for a very long time. What this scout told me is that it was the exact opposite of Barnes. It's what is his NBA skill? You look at his film from the G League, it's not good. He was not an efficient scorer. A lot of his points came through kind of bully ball, not modern NBA tactics. So the reason I have him going 6 to the Thunder is that I think the Thunder would be willing to take a chance on him. They're still rebuilding. They don't expect to be good anytime soon. He's very young. Kuminga doesn't turn 19 until October. So he's a project. I think that's why he's dropped out of that top 5, or definitely out of the top 4, is because he is more of a project than a known commodity. But still a lot of skill there, but those are the reasons why he's kind of dropping down draft boards at this point.
Okay, and at number 7, he could be in play for the Golden State Warriors. You're out there in the Bay Area. You've been covering the Warriors for many years. They have the 7th and the 14th picks. That's 2 lottery picks. What are you hearing about them trying to shop these 2 lottery picks as they try to win right now?
Yeah, they don't want to pick at 7. I think that's pretty clear. All the reports out there are saying that they are looking to package that pick, possibly Andrew Wiggins, to go out and make a win now move. Some of the names that are out there, Pascal Siakam from the Raptors, who you could easily slide in next to Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and hopefully a healthy Klay Thompson. That'll get you right back in the championship picture. The Warriors obviously have their eyes on the situation in Portland. If Damian Lillard does end up asking for a trade, they can put together a pretty attractive package with 7, 14, James Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins as salary filler, and go out there and make a huge move. If Lillard decides to stay, but the Blazers still want to retool, they might look at a guy like McCollum. And then there's a guy out there in Philadelphia, Ben Simmons, who his trade value has clearly plummeted after this playoff performance. If the Warriors can go in there and grab Ben Simmons and say, hey, look, you don't need to be our 2nd best guy. You could be our 4th best offensive player, our 2nd best defender next to Draymond Green. I think that's a pretty enticing idea for the Warriors out here. All
right, that's just a few picks from Colin Ward-Henninger's latest first-round mock on CBSSports.com. Check it out. It's live right now. Thank you so much, Colin. Looking back at his top 10, we talked about the top 6 or 7. He also had the Magic taking Davion Mitchell, number 8. So a couple of picks for the Magic in the top 8. Scotty Barnes, 5th. Davion Mitchell, 8th. Keon Johnson to the Kings at 9. And Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga joining Zion Williamson of the Pelicans with the 10th overall selection. Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.